Okay, can you start my stopwatch over there as well? Okay.
It's like a full production.
Yep.
Oh, we're recording already, but that's okay. It gets edited, right?
Yeah. This will give everyone an opportunity to take a couple deep breaths. Go ahead. Eric's not doing it. It's okay.
Eric is laser focused.
Laser
Always.
beam.
Always. Are you already taking notes on how to internationally launch our brand?
I told Jeremy maybe I can become a consultant, but I'm a little expensive.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Jeremy
we'll be
can-
able to afford it within
Jeremy
within
can
a
afford
year.
it.
Yeah, within a year we'll be able to afford it. No worries.
That's right.
Yeah.
Make your footprint in North America, and then we can talk international.
Deal.
Okay.
Deal. Be ready in a couple months.
You got it.
Just kidding. A couple of years for sure. Okay, we're ready to go. Okay. All right. We're just gonna jump into it.
Let's jump
So
into
this is podcast number 11. Not 10. Okay. Podcast number 11.
1-1, baby. The lucky 1-1.
And like usual, it's the best one yet.
It's the best one yet.
Of course.
So we have with us, we are so lucky to share the story of a very beautiful, intelligent, confident Inga from Florida. We had to preface that because there's a couple Ingas from Solon. There's an Inga in California.
I told you.
I recently learned this. I have literally never met another Inga in my entire life.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, my wife is Inga. Her last name obviously Golubitsky. So Inga G. There's another Inga G in Solon. There's another Inga G that used to live in Beechwood that just moved to California. I know a lot of Ingas. And
we need to have an Inga party.
You do. That would be the coolest thing ever. But anyway, thank you so much for doing this because again, your success will breed inspiration and it's an amazing story. You're definitely a hero and man, just excited to go through the details. So good work, Jeremy. Good work because you put in a lot of work, Inga. And
Thank you.
Thank you. He's been phenomenal for sure.
Well, it's great. It's great. So I can't wait to jump into some of the details right now. You good, Jeremy?
Yeah.
You good to go?
Let's go. Let's get the show on the road.
You had a couple workouts in today?
Just one so far.
1.5.
1.5. Right.
All good. So, okay, Inga. So just give us a quick background on you.
Yeah, sure. So yes, my name is Inga. I live in Florida, and I did grow up in Ohio, and moved down a couple of years ago for an awesome job opportunity. But that also meant leaving a lot of family and friends and support. I had a very young daughter at the time, and I was married. And soon after, my son came along. So life was hectic. New place and two little kids and being a new mom and all of that. But things just started to snowball for me, and I was finding myself just about a year ago, having to make an extremely difficult decision. And that decision was in regards to, my relationship with my husband. And I made the very, very difficult choice to leave my marriage. This was just about a year ago. It was summertime of 2020. So in the midst of, COVID and everything else that was going on, I do want to preface, though, that that decision did not come overnight. It was not, sort of the COVID effect or anything like that. This was, several years in the making, unfortunately, for me. This is something that I spent a lot of time thinking about and contemplating about. And, we spent, at least from my viewpoint, trying to make things work. But at the end, I realized that in order for me to be happy, in order for me to be the kind of mom that I needed to be for my kids, and really realizing and kind of coming to like a truth with myself that things will not get better over time. I needed to leave. I needed to file for divorce. And this became a huge shock really for everyone, not only for obviously my ex-husband, but really just to family members as well. I'm not the type of person to really talk about personal relationships. I really keep things in. So it wasn't, no one really knew what's been going on in my mind over the last, couple of years as it related to, to my relationship with my husband. So when I had, told him and of course told, family, it really shook a lot of people, and it really took them by surprise. And I think some of them thought that this was just something I woke up and decided to do one day. And it wasn't. And I knew in my heart of hearts that that was the right decision. And actually, the day that I actually called my lawyer or called a lawyer, I almost felt this like sense of relief when I did that, which that really told me that I did make the right decision. However, fast forward a couple of months after that, a lot of outside noise, a lot of, fear sort of started to come into play. I just realized, like, what did I just do? I live here in Florida with no support. I'm about to be a single mom. There was a lot of external noise about, no one's going to want to date you. You've got 2 kids. Are you sure you want to do this? So just a lot of, questions to my decision. And that really started to weigh heavily on me. And I started to doubt if I was making the right decision. And I knew that I wasn't doubting the decision that I made, but it was the fear that was taking over me. And I started to have doubts because of this fear of being by myself, being able to manage, these 2 little kids by myself. And it was, I really got to the point where I was just like in panic attack mode. Right. And there was a day in December, so I know it was December, and I'm scrolling through Facebook trying to keep my mind off things. I'm literally like having a panic attack. And I see this ad scroll through my news feed, and it's Jeremy, offering like a free 15-minute session. And I didn't even think about it. Like, I just said, I need to talk to someone because I couldn't do it on my own. Like I was just like, I was literally hyperventilating, and it was a sign. And I'm like, if there's any other time for me to go and reach out to someone for help, this is the time to do it. And I didn't even think about it. And I clicked on the link and I signed up for, this 15-minute session. I think it was like the following day. And then I got this sense of relief, because then I'm like, okay, help is coming.
Nice.
And it really felt good and nervous, because I'm not accustomed to talking to someone and a stranger about really personal things. But I knew I needed to do it, because it was just the right time.
Right. Well, we should preface that this was not an in-person help that Jeremy provided, Inga. This was all online.
This was all online, and it was specifically just me jumping on Facebook and offering my services to anyone who wanted a free 15-minute call. That's all it was. It was just a Facebook
What are your
Live.
services? Let's talk about that.
This was specifically just life coaching and building confidence.
Right.
I was going through a time in my life where, like, wow, I really figured out like where all my confidence lies.
Right.
And I wanted to help others achieve that. Right.
Right.
And it was just the time in my life where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go live and offer it. I don't do it too often. In fact, I haven't done it. I haven't gone online and offered a free 15-minute call probably in like 6 months. But, I was building my business at the time, and I just did it.
That's awesome.
And boom,
Thank God.
And that's the whole thing. Is my mentor was always telling me, look, you go live or you do your talks or your podcast or whatever it is, you just need to help one person.
Right.
And that was it. Inga was that one person.
Sure.
He achieved it.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the work in a minute, but we have an amazing separate podcast that talks all about the specifics and details of what goes into life coaching. Right. But quickly summarize life coaching.
It's ultimately helping someone achieve specific goals. Right. That could be anything. It could be in mind, body, relationship, finances, confidence, whatever it is.
Right. Because people look at you and so on as a fitness guru, private trainer.
Right. I had to go through.
They don't realize that you're certified on life coaching,
right.
And helping people set attainable, realistic goals and really go deep.
Right.
And going deep, like Inga just referenced, is really hard to do. I mean, everyone is surface level. I mean, anybody you ever talk to is not going deep. 99.99% of the time, right? So we've even talked about the 5%, right? The best 5%, when something is going unbelievably well, who do you really share it with? That's not going to be jealous and not going to judge you or whatever. And then the worst 5%, right? The things that are really
right.
Keeping you from sleeping at night. That middle 90%, that's easy. That's
right. And like Inga was talking about, like she was going through a divorce and making decisions and she had no one to talk to. So who do you, just sharing that 5% that we're talking about already releases a lot of anxieties, right? Just sharing it, just telling someone about it.
Absolutely. And sometimes, I mean, and I'll speak to my own experience, sometimes even people within your circle, and maybe it's just, how you grew up, it's very challenging to be able to have, certain conversations. Like, I did tell my family about, obviously I'm filing for divorce and why, and I've had sort of these surface level conversations, and, my family was supportive and they understood, but at the same time, they were also very scared, and some of those fears were translating over to me, and that's just not what I needed at the time, because it was making me scared. And what I knew was I did not want to go back and reversing those decisions, because I knew that, okay, things will be okay for another, 6 years, a month. But in the end, whatever that time frame is, I was going to wind up in the same place with that relationship. So I either do it now after several years of really, thinking about it, or I give into my fears, I go back, and then I find myself again another couple of years in the same spot. And that's what I didn't want. And yeah, I needed someone outside of my normal circle or family to really help me and guide me and give me the confidence that I needed to tell me at the end of the day, like, it's okay, because I'm not the first person to get a divorce. I'm not the first single mom, and I'm certainly not going to be the last. But in my world, this was like a huge fear of mine.
Sure.
And I just needed that outside person.
So for someone who considers themselves holding things in and not being vocal, like the the fact that Inga's on this podcast and willing to put herself out there and share I mean, just shows the miracle, right?
Growth. Yeah.
Already the growth,
Yep.
the confidence, I mean, you are the the epitome of what a life coach a client or student is all about. I mean, this is amazing. So again, I want to thank you for this. Okay, so
Thank
let's
you.
jump into the timeline of work. So first call, what was again, we're going to share as much as you want to share. So first call, what was it like? High level, what did you expect? What happened? That well, we can talk about the 15-minute call, and obviously that led into an engagement. But so let's talk about that 15. Well, sorry, let's rewind. The decision to call. I mean, that's amazing.
Right.
The fact that you took all your thoughts, positive, negative, fear, whatever else, and those are all thoughts, but then you actually had the action step of saying, that's it. I definitely need someone to talk to. So you made that action step. Talk about that action step, that 15-minute call, and that the initial engagement part.
Yep. So the first thing was, so I did sign up for, and this was just an online, sign up that he had posted, with the
Sure.
calendar. So I had signed up, and I think I scheduled it for the next day. And right on time, that phone call the next day came, and and I figured it was him, and I was getting nervous because here's this stranger calling me, and I've got to now explain to him like what it is that I need.
Right.
So so the 15-minute call was really, Jeremy understanding or trying to understand, what's going on, and where I feel I need, some help, or if he feels that, he's able to provide, some of that life coaching that he does. And so it was a very high level 15-minute call. I talked to him about, just briefly, quickly what's going on, where my mindset is at. And that was really it. He said, I can definitely help you if you're willing, let's get this started, and then I think at that time we talked about we set up like an initial call, where we got into, of course, a little bit more detail, and then kind of what the schedule of our sessions would be like after that.
Mhm.
So yeah, the
So
initial call.
at that time, were you at that first 15 minutes, Jeremy was your guy, or did you think maybe there's somebody else that I should talk to and research before I make the decision to engage? So talk about that for a second.
Yeah, no, I just decided to go with it because, I didn't really know anything about life coaching or these people who do life coaching. To me, it was really, if you needed to talk to someone, you kind of go and talk to like a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And I like the fact that he was this sort of life coach, which was sort of like a stepping stone, right? So I know people have this fear about going, and I did too, about going and talking to like a doctor per se. So I just thought that, okay, well, let me try this out. And I was a little skeptical, but I would have been skeptical over doctors too. I'm like, they can't help me, this isn't going to work. Um, but no, I just said, okay, let's do this. Like, I was at the point where I just needed help. I just needed to talk to someone. And he said he can do it. So I really just put my faith into it. There was really nobody else that I was like doing homework on. I didn't even really do homework on him. I asked him, of course, like, well, are you trained? Do you have a certificate? Like, what is this? So I kind of vetted him out that way. But otherwise, yeah, there wasn't really a lot of like thought or, in-depth, homework that I did on him. So I really put my faith into his hands.
Got it. And again, it was right time, right place, sent from God, feeling, thoughts. So of course, and the fact that he's full of empathy helps, and he's just a good dude. So yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
he was great. And, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but, he really created just a genuinely caring, no judgment environment. And I think that really helped with the sessions, and for me to really be able to open up to him, not just about, the divorce and, but really allow me to talk to him about just other things, and other fears in my life, and, my career, and, me as a mom, and just every other aspect that makes me. And that ultimately, of course, helped with why I initially called him. So it ended up being a really rounded discussion just about being able to be confident in your life and being happy and grateful in your life all the way around.
Right, because it's overwhelming. If you thought you were calling somebody to help you with 14 facets of your life, you'd be like, "Whoa, that's way too much." But that onion peels, right? So it starts with the biggest thing that takes up the space in your
Your
brain,
thoughts, yeah.
the thoughts, the divorce, the anxiety, etc., and it turns into um well, Jeremy, look,
Well, it, ta- it, it,
talk about
it ultimately, like you said, it takes up space. So these negative thoughts are taking up space. And how do we replace the negative thoughts with more positive thoughts? And these are the habits that we practice in
right,
life coaching. And then again, we're not going to go over what they are because we have a whole podcast about it. But that's the foundation, right? Turning these negative thoughts, and a lot of them were coming from your outside environment, into positive thoughts, where you kind of took your outside environment into your own hands by reaching out to me.
That's
So
right.
that's the decision.
That
so
was a decision. The decision was really wanting to, to sum it up, to be happy.
nice.
and and that included a wide variety of things as we got into it. So, but once the decision was made and we started to have the calls, it just snowballed from there, or the onion started to peel, all the different layers.
Nice. Nice. So the fearfulness, the fact that you're skeptical about things, negative, the negative self-talk, all is starting to turn around, right? With the positive thinking, with the work that you're putting in with Jeremy.
Yeah, I think the theme of our call was really around, I've led my life just sort of on this fear. Like, I was just a natural born scaredy cat. I made my decisions based on fear, and making sure I checkbox the things I'm supposed to do, go to school, get my degrees, get a job, get married, have kids. Like, it was like this line I needed to follow. And there was fear to stray from that line.
Right.
So for me to make a decision to leave a marriage where I was really in a relationship that I was really unhappy in was straying from that line.
Right.
And so yeah, it was a great journey to work with Jeremy.
So Jeremy, take us from first impression to working with Inga.
Well, I mean, first impression, like she said, she wasn't sure. She was influenced by outside environment, a lot of negative thinking. To now, I mean, let's just talk to Inga about where she's at now. I mean, totally like on a podcast and positive and grateful and happy and confident, right? And,
yeah.
When did you guys start? 6 months ago, right? So this is 6
yeah,
months.
it's been 6
December.
months. Yeah.
Wow.
6-7 months.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we started initially the first 3 to 4 months, we did 2 1-hour sessions, and Jeremy was very accommodating to my schedule, right? 2 1-hour sessions, very accommodating to my schedule. So we started at 7 a.m. and then we moved to 6 a.m. calls because, mom, single mom, 2 kids, school, work, and then, obviously Jeremy has, his work and everything. So, but it was a great way to start the day, to really start off with some positive discussions, being able to talk about, what's going through my mind and what fears am I having, what doubts am I having, and really working on building that self-confidence. And that helped me really start my day off right too. Going into work and, interacting with my colleagues. I've even had colleagues tell me that they've sensed and noticed a difference in me and how I carry myself and how I talk from, whatever, 6 months or a year, 2 years before that. And so yeah, we had these 1-hour sessions, and we talked everything about, my childhood, where are my fears coming from? A lot of that really stemmed through a lack of self-confidence that I just had throughout my whole life, going back to childhood and adolescence and even in adulthood. It really just stemmed, for me, to the lack of self-confidence that I had. And that included, like, now these fears of, oh my God, am I going to be able to be a single mom? And one of the first things that Jeremy had me do, which I thought was super helpful, was he gave me an assignment of writing down 100 accomplishments.
Nice.
And I'm like, and the first thing that I said is, I can't do that, right? So this negative thing, like, I can't do that. I don't have 100 accomplishments. And he said, everyone has 100 accomplishments. You just have to sit down and think about it. So I did that. And I did. I was able to. And if you actually think about even going into like the smallest little things that you normally don't think are accomplishments, they're accomplishments in your life.
Sure.
And that really started with that little boost of confidence and a reminder of all the things that I've been able to do and that I have accomplished.
Right.
And I think he said at that time, is like, I bet you can get to 200.
Nice.
How many are you at now?
Oh, I stopped. I definitely can add to that list for sure. Even just, honestly, one of my biggest fears, after making the decision of getting divorced was, being able to handle the single mom aspect, and really being a single mom in an environment where I don't have close family and friends. Everyone lives outside of the state. I mean, my closest relative is an hour and a half away. So that was really my biggest fear, is trying to manage them. And then obviously my demanding full-time job. And I learned at the end of the day, I mean, you can do it. We can all do it. We tell ourselves we can't do it, but you figure it out. I mean, what choice do you have? You just figure it out. And so, yeah, I honestly think I can make a list of more accomplishments just on the things I've been able to do with, being a single mom. And that's just one aspect.
Yeah, and people live in their negative accomplishments. That's
Mhm.
that's the point of the exercise, and that's awesome.
Well, and people forget their accomplishments.
Right.
More importantly, we
Right.
forget. So the exercise helps you remember.
Yeah, I mean, we would go on calls, and even in the beginning, and he will still do that. He'll ask me, okay, how was the last couple of days? And even if I would start off with something, negative, or, oh my gosh, one of my kids was sick, and whatever it was, and he would turn it into a positive, and he's like, well, look what you learned now. Now you learned, now you learned how to, balance a sick kid and be on a conference call, for example.
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list. So anytime I would even try and remotely tell him something negative, he would turn it into a positive. And that was, I think, a lot of just that type of discussions and that type of work that is now helping me, think differently, think about the positive, just try to really stay in that positive zone, because it's just so easy. It's so easy to get into the negativity of the day. The kids are sick. I didn't have a good meeting. The house is messy. Like, all these little things that we're just constantly just so negative about. Obviously, I was going through a divorce, so I had a lot of unpleasant things happening in that regard too. As much as you want to make divorce nice, someone's hurt, right? So there was a lot of negativity even coming through on my personal side, and my relationship with my ex-husband, and that was all weighing down on me. And Jeremy, he helped me figure out how to think positively. He gave me a lot of little skills on how to kind of walk away from the negativity. And we talked about meditation, and how meditation can take on in a different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be sitting in a room with necessarily your own thoughts. We found out, for me, my best form of meditation was listening to music and cooking, because that always put me into a happy zone.
Nice.
So I made sure to always do that whenever the world was sort of weighing down on me. And I would listen to music, and I would dance to myself, and I would take time to cook, and then send those pictures off.
Nice.
And so, yeah, and I needed those, and they seem so simple, but we forget. I always listen to music. I love music, but I never really associated that with allowing that to be like a healing factor in my life, and allowing me to use that to help me.
That's great. That's strong. That's good. So that sounds like a great routine and positive change. Anything else as far as new habits or routines or improvements or adjustments in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not perfect. No one is. So I still have my moments. I think one of the biggest things that really ended up helping me, and that I try to practice every morning, was from a book that Jeremy had me read, and there was a chapter on gratitude, and it really resonated with me, because, again, I think it's so easy for us to think about all these tiny little negative things that happen in our life, but at the end of the day, I mean, when I sit back and really examine my life, me being healthy, my kids being healthy, I'm able to go to work, put food on the table, like really the things that are needed. I started to really become grateful for everything that I have. And I think in that chapter it talked about, writing down, and journaling and writing down. And Jeremy always talked to me about journaling, a couple of nights every day about what went wrong, what went well, what you want. And it's making just a list, a couple of things of what are you grateful for. And really for me, it has always come down to I'm healthy, the kids are healthy, I'm able to provide for them. And when I have those three things, everything else really doesn't matter. Like it falls into place for me.
Yep.
Nice.
Gratitude. The magic in
No,
gratitude.
by far, everything's absolutely a very far second place after those things, for sure, including the sun you see every day and the palm
Yep.
trees. We're all jealous of Floridians.
That definitely does help me, I have to say. The sunshine every day is a very big
You don't miss these gray skies and the rain and no palm trees at all?
I don't miss the gray skies. I do miss Cleveland a lot more than I thought I would. But it's my hometown. It's where my family's at. It's where my friends are at. I miss the amazing food that we have in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but I definitely don't miss the gray skies. If I can, if I can bring some sunshine up there, that would be wonderful. But I'm excited to go back and visit now that things are starting to open up more and my kids are getting a little older. I'm excited to go show my kids the changing leaves and what snow is and all of that good stuff.
What is next for Inga?
I'm just focusing on everything that Jeremy has taught me, the skills that he's taught me and shared with me. I am now divorced, so all of that got finalized, and not to say that that didn't come with mixed emotions that I wasn't expecting to have.
Mhm.
But I'm focusing on my kids. I'm also focusing on my career because that's another big aspect of who I am and
Sure.
what gets me going every day. And I'm just wanting to enjoy life and trying to find that balance. Work hard, play harder, be an awesome mom to my kids.
Nice.
I love. They make me smile every day. They're amazing, and there's no time for negative thoughts.
Yeah, that's
100%.
right. Love it. I'm doing something right. There's no time for negative thoughts.
Jeremy, did Inga miss anything on what's next for Inga? Anything
I will
else?
say this, that she has told me that a couple of her coworkers have called her the new self-help queen.
Wow.
They have, yeah.
So she's rubbing off on people in a great way already.
And there's zero doubt that this podcast is going to make somebody happier, smile, more confident. I already think a few of them are writing their 100 accomplishments list. So
make your list of 100. That really helped. That really helped me. It really did.
Yep.
Inga, thank you so much. You have put yourself out there. This is amazing. This is definitely going to help some people. I think we need a part 2 when you come into town. We'll do one in person
podcast.
That would be fantastic.
At the club.
When you come to visit at the club. And again, thank you. And
I need a workout session.
I owe you a couple for sure. For sure.
That's easy. That's
private, one-on-one, like no one else gets.
Working out is the easy stuff. What you did is the hardest stuff, and just commend you on it. It's amazing.
Thank you, and thank you to Jeremy. for honestly, he was really amazing, and what makes him amazing is the no judgment. I was really able to open up to him and talk to him. I tell him all the time that he knows me better than my closest family and friends, because I was just able to, to spill it out. And so thank you.
You're
It's like
welcome.
a complete 180 from where I was, 6 months ago. I really feel like you saved me. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, guys.
All
So
right.
thank you
That's
guys
a
for this
wrap.
opportunity. It was fun.
It was so fun.
It was great. It was great.
And I'll be talking to you
It's
soon.
beyond great. I think this was
Yeah.
so perfect. So thank you again, Inga. Have
Thanks,
a great
guys.
day.
Have a
We'll
great
talk to you
rest of
soon.
your day.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Boom. 2 down. 2 testimonials. That was good. That was more tight. See? Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
We'll get a big one.